Dear God, what have I created? Ah! And here we are back in hardcore. And the last episode, we got all these villagers placed in, as you saw maybe at the very end of the episode, we got all the terracotta villagers with each of the colors. You can kind of see in the background there, just to my left, your right. But if we head over to this building, we also went and got all the glass trades. So as you can see, we have 5 villagers and they all have the glass trade available. And I did make one mistake. I misspoke in the last episode. I totally forgot that the cartographers, they don't give you panes, they take them. So you give them panes, they give you emeralds, and it's how you make infinite emeralds, kinda. You get the glass from emeralds, you buy some more emeralds from these guys, and you make slightly more in that trade, so then you just keep going around and around. So that's how you can do one way of getting emeralds. I need a much better way because I'm slowly running out. I'm slowly storing a bunch of the glass in here, but we're gonna need a lot more for some of our bigger projects. But enough about villagers. I've had enough with villagers for quite a while. I think we can take a break from doing any kind of village progress of any kind. As you can see, we have some of the guys just wandering around because in the last episode I mentioned I would open up the ground. You can see just back here. So anytime a baby villager is born from the breeder underneath, they can just pop up here, and then we have much more villagers kind of just populate the area. I put a bunch of beds, I think, in this building here. I'm trying to do everything backwards. Yeah, so we just put a couple beds in here just so it feels more like a village, and then we can get some of these iron golems around. I don't want them eventually to be wandering the village, so eventually I'm going to try and stick them either below ground or above, but for now they can protect from any zombies that might come, because we had a couple coming attacking, and we almost lost some villagers, but thankfully I got here just in time and dealt with those. But enough about the village, let's head back to the tower and look at our board for how many more farms we need to complete in today's episode. Alright, and we're back in the tower looking at our current progress board for these mega builds. I've updated so that we have the manual on one side, and as well over here for the concrete, just because they can't be farmed in like an infinite farm, so we have to find better ways of gathering them. And the same for the concrete for the sand, but that's just another problem for another day. That'll just be a couple hours I spend in a desert or so. Now, another thing that we need to get done, I think today, is at least the glowstone, shroom lights, and then the nether warped wart block. Because those are the last 3, it seems, that I need to get farms for. So I think we get those done today, we're going to be golden. There's also a couple other things, like we do have a wool farm, but I think we might upgrade that just because, I mean, if we look at the other one, it's not very efficient, and for right now I've only got gray and black, so it's not really getting a lot, and I don't want to have to take all those and then use dye on them. I want to have a farm with each of the colors, so we'll get to that later, but for now, we gotta tackle the glowstone with a witch farm. So in the last episode, I did a lot of planning, so today's all about action. So we're heading straight to the nether to go find a proper witch hut in a good area, and I did a little bit of scouting beforehand, so we're just going to go to the connected portal, if I can find it. Looks like I don't have Voxy on, 1 second. Oh, and there we go, with Voxy, we can see our witch farm is right there. I went over into Overworld, spent a bunch of time, didn't want to waste all your time gathering all that kind of finding the right biome, then finding one with a witch hut, and then this one was actually pretty good. It was mostly over water, so let's go head over. I won't bore you with all the details, so let's just go to a quick time lapse where we build the whole thing, and then we can take a look at all of the progress as well as how efficient this farm is. Alright, and here we are, the witch farm's all complete. Now, it is kind of the basic one down there, but I did make some adjustments so that it could be a little bit more efficient in my opinion. So let's take a look at all the different parts. So we're going to quickly free cam this up so we can see all the different parts. Down here is the regular witch farm. It uses these tripwire hooks and some string anytime a witch spawns on this area. It releases some water, you can kind of see in here, pushes them off, and collects them down into collection. We have 3 layers, so it's pretty efficient there. Once they come down here, I push them up a little elevator. I need to figure out how this works better, because in some versions of this, it just pushes them up no matter what. I don't know if it's because the witches are too tall. Maybe this needs to be a slab, like a top slab, and then it'll allow them go up. I don't know. Maybe that's just something I need to work on a little bit. But after that, we have a nice little glass thing so we can see when they're coming up here. And we get all the way to the top. And then they're pushed over. And as you can see, we got quite a few waiting for us. So if we come back out of this, we grab our looting sword. We just stand in here. They can't see us, so we're never going to deal with any of the poison or damage potions. Now, usually what I would do is I would fill my inventory so I don't actually grab any of this stuff up. But it looks like they're starting to attack each other. They might have tried to hit me. But after all this, it goes into these hoppers. And I have an overflow one just in case they jump past. And I do have my inventory properly filled. And then we have just a nice, simple sorting system. Can we make this jump? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So just a simple impulse sorter from ages ago. Works like a charm. We put the items in here. Some filter items. Same all around. As you can see, we don't even have enough of the glowstone dust yet. It's one of the ones that seems to be very slow. I thought it was going to be as efficient as maybe the other ones, but as you can see, redstone's really popular, gunpowder is good, sugar and sticks. So the one thing we do want isn't coming out as efficiently. So we're going to have to AFK this a lot if we're going to want that, but we'll just have to see if, I don't know, maybe there's some sort of bug going on, because it is very low. We've only gotten 30, and I've killed hundreds upon hundreds of witches. I mean, if we just keep going, and a looting 3, I should be getting lots of this, but for some reason, it's just not coming out properly. But that's kind of the farm. Originally, it sends them down below and uses a hopper, like a entity cramming with a bunch of the minecarts. Sorry, keep forgetting what they're called. And it just kills them automatically, but you don't get that looting of a good sword. So I decided to redirect them up here, because this is the AFK platform, so they spawn down there. No other mobs are going to spawn because I lit it up or kind of blocked off some blocks, as you can see, like on the nether portal. So only witches spawn, and that's the maximum rates we can kind of get. And we're just going to keep AFKing this. I have a macro set up. Let's see if it works. Yeah, there you go. So it hits every second. And that's why, if I turn that off, we have regeneration. So just in case I do accidentally leave this running for too long, well, we have our phantom protection up here. And then if I run out of hunger, that should keep me from dying, I hope. I'm probably going to have to test that just to be sure so I can safely leave this. But as you can see, my hunger hasn't moved at all. And that's about a minute or so. So I think it should be fine. And maybe I'll lower the amount of hits I do, and that'll keep our hunger up for a bit longer. But that is a farm done, and that's, I guess, oh, there we go, our first glowstone. Let's take a look at our filter. Which one of these is it? So we got our 41, and now it's starting to collect into the chest. So we just have to AFK this a bunch. It's going to be a pain, but I guess it's just something to do whilst I'm not doing anything else, or whilst I'm editing maybe or something. We'll see. Now, let's head back, check that off, and go on to our next build, which is going to be the improved wool farm. I just checked off the glowstone. I mean, it's a slow farm, but it's better than nothing. I don't know if it's better than the raid farm. We're going to have to check the rates, because if that one is better, then maybe AFKing 2 farms is better than AFKing just the witch farm. But we have another farm, and that one's fully AFKable, so if I ever don't want to have to set up macros or hold right click and things like that, that's a little bit better. So let's head over and get to doing our new industrial wool farm. Alright, now that we have our witch farm all in place, that's another thing checked off the list. So now we're over here back into the industrial district for our final industrial build, I guess, for a little while. We'll come back to it eventually when we need more big farms. But for now, I think this is the last one we're going to need, at least for these projects. Now, this is a little something that I kind of forgot to do. I did it on a live stream. I just thought I need a lot more bone meal because my farms were constantly running out. I was constantly having to go to my cherry farm to get the byproduct of all of the bone meal that I get occasionally from all those roses. But I thought, let's make up a nice kind of bone meal farm. It's all just regenerative, so I never have to fill it up with anything. I just have to flick this off, and then it starts going really quickly. And it's going to start filling all these up. It has its own refilling center, so I never have to worry about this part running out. And then all the excess, some of it, we come back here. I have sent, and it goes into the tree farm in our block factory. So we have 2 of these going to there, so we should never run out there. And a couple are coming over here because I had an idea, because I need a lot of the shroom lights. So the little mushrooms, these warp fungus is what I need, but it's hard to farm them, so I came up with the idea of setting up one of these. Problem is, it makes a massive mess, but it kind of works, as you can see here. So we use a little bit of the bone meal for that. No, it looks like it's run out. I kind of shut it off a little bit, but this is the only way I can actually get these to go into the farm, so then we can get the shroom lights and then the warped fungus and stuff like that. The warped wart block things, yeah. But eventually, I'll be putting a case over this, just another little, kind of maybe something similar to this build style, just around it, just so it feels like another kind of outside build. I mean, if we go over to this side, maybe something along the lines of this, because this is just purely decorative, but it could go very similarly for something like this, just for a little outbuilding, just to cover this up. And then maybe I'll come up with a better design of this. If you guys have one that gets those, what are they called again? The warped fungus better, let me know in the comments and I'll go find that. And then that'll be a better farm for in here. But now it is time for us to fill in this new factory. First, we got to clear the land, get rid of some of these trees, and then it's a massive building. I know I throw around the mega build kind of phrase around a lot, but this one is a large factory. I mean, actually, it's probably slightly larger than the ones we have here. Just a little bit more. Plus, it's a bit more expensive. I went a little crazy. I had a lot of good inspiration come, and we got a pretty good build going. So let's go to that quickly, finish that off, and then we have a couple more things we got to get done for today's episode, and then we're getting ready pretty soon for a mega build. So let's get to it. And here we are with our newest addition to our industrial district. Let's land on top of this one here to get a good look at the thing overall. You probably saw it pretty well in the time lapse. I forgot to do a couple details like these copper bits on the side, but I did that afterwards and it's all done nice and large. I used quite a bit more of the oxidized. I'm not sure how I like that or if I want to maybe bring it down like I did with these ones, but we'll see how it goes. This one looks a lot newer and shinier than the other ones so far. So maybe we adjust it down, get our axe and some honey, and just change them a little bit. But let's head down and take a look on the inside of the farm. So if we come into the front door, you can see I've already got most things set up here. So we have one for each of the different colors of sheep. This was done a little bit after. It's kind of all the redstone behind it. All it is if we grab this up, oop, that's gonna be a mess. We have, I don't have the observer. I missed an observer in the build. Okay, so an observer is supposed to be here so it can read this block here when it turns into from grass to dirt, and then it sends a signal behind here to this bit of redstone, which triggers the dispenser, which is gonna have a bunch of shears. So this is where I'm gonna put the shears. This is gonna load them through these hoppers, and then that cart's just gonna go back and forth and make sure we never run out of those. But I need to get all those observers in. I guess Lightmatica wasn't happy with me. And it's the exact same thing on the other side. I have the colors to mark which sheep I need. And then I'm going to cover it up like this, just so we can still see the sheep, make sure there's no problems. And then we have the hopper minecart underneath, as you just saw, going back and forth. And it'll pick up any wool that is dropped. We'll leave that back in there. And after it is dropped, it'll be taken underneath all the way over here. I guess I don't really have an access way currently, so we're just going to have to break through the wall. And we have two unloading stations like I have in my sulfur farm. When something's in here, so when something's being unloaded, it pauses this, turns this off so nothing can get away. So that kind of stops there. And then once this is empty, it'll send the cart back on its way. And we just have another one of those over here, exact same thing. And then the hopper lines into a hopper kind of, or a dropper chain to send things all the way to the top, where we have some more of these just basic filters. It's just always the same. I use these things so often. Oh, looks like we're missing some redstone torches. Oh my god, I'm missing so much. But up there, we have filters that are going to be checking for things like white wool in this one. And I'm going to need to get some filter items. And then all the white wool is going to be coming down here. And we have one for each of the colors. And I color-coded them so I know exactly where I have to go. And then we have a bit of overflow just in case, I don't know, something gets lost into it. It's not going to get trapped in the hoppers and mess things up. And if any of these ever fill up, which I doubt is going to happen for a long, long time, it'll go into there, let me know, oh, I have to come over here, maybe grab some shulkers and fill those up. I was tempted to have up here a shulker loader for each one of these, and then it would basically fill up the shulkers, send it down, so I would go up even higher, have the filtering chain, and then before it got into the chests, I would have a shulker loader here, and then these would just fill up with shulkers. So maybe one day if I run this a lot and that's necessary, it's not a hard addition. Basically, just extend this dropper chain up higher, move all these filters up with it, and then just sneak a couple of shulker loaders, which are pretty easy to make in between there. But now that we have that, I don't have this wool because I put it in the filter. We'll get back to that later. We have to go and capture a bunch of sheep. 16, I think, is the number we need. We should be able to get some around here, but let's just take a look around. We do have another entrance over here to the front. This staircase is just kind of decorative to go up here so you can look over top. And for once, I did interiors kind of. I just kind of cheated by putting ceilings, but it works just as well. So now the next thing, I mean, technically, I forgot to mention this earlier, but this allows me to have infinite of the shroom lights and of the warp blocks. So technically, that's another 2 things we can check off the list, and those are the last ones. But we're upgrading the wool farm, so let's quickly gather a bunch of sheep, get them all dyed, and then we'll take our last final stand over in our tower. Alright, so basically I could only find a couple, and I've had to just breed up the rest. They apparently this island has no more wildlife. Like, I found a sheep, maybe like 2 sheep, maybe 3, I think it was 3 sheep in total, a cow and a pig and a couple wolves, and that's all I found. So I think this industrialization is really taking an impact on the nature around here. But now that we have these guys, we can start doing things like this, and we have our red, we have our yellow, and then if we grab 2 more, these are just from doing some bone mealing around, we can grab up more colors. We do 1 orange, 1 yellow, and we're just gonna have to do that for every single color. Now this is the easy stuff because it's here, the rest will have to be done back at base, and then the fun part of dragging these guys in. I fixed the observer as well as the torches, so the second we start getting these things, the hoppers, or I guess the filters, will be working. So let's go get all the colors, and that's pretty much all we got for today's episode. So once again, I'm not going to bore you guys with having to wait for all this stuff to get into here, so we'll just throw it to a quick little flashback time-lapse thing of me just walking and dragging these guys around. I'll probably do it, and then because in sped up time, it's probably going to look insanely stupid and just silly, just having to shove each one in and hopefully getting the glass in time. So we'll just do one last thing where hopefully we have all of them in. We still have to breed up a couple more, but we still need some more of the colors. I've gotten a lot of them. We don't actually have a white one left, so we're going to have to leave that. I think these are all unique now. So we're going to have to go get some wheat, breed these guys up, and then finish this off. And that'll be all of the farms we need for our next couple mega projects. So either in the next episode or the one after, we're starting a new mega project, and it's going to be a big one. So we have to figure out which one we want to go for. I have kind of 3 I'm kind of bouncing between. One of them is like half finished, so maybe we skip that one and do that another time. So we go on to the other 2. So those are also thinking about them now. They're huge and major pains. We're gonna have to do a lot of AFKing. I mean, if we check the world counter, we have 1,527 days. By the next episode, we're probably gonna be so much further than that because we're doing so much more AFKing, and it's something I've been avoiding because I wanted to keep that day counter low, but since we're past that 1,000 days, I think we can afford to skip past and just plow through, get as many items as we can so we can get some more mega builds in progress. So that's going to be it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more episodes coming soon. Until next time.